Good morning, everybody. My name is Various Smith, and I'm coming to you live from Corona, California. And this is Saturday School. Just want to welcome each and every one of you to Saturday School. Looks like we may have us a visitor. Welcome to the broadcast. I see you there, Lisa. Let's see. And let's see if we can make you go live really quick as well. So if you would like to go live as well. But welcome to the broadcast. And thank you guys for tuning in. And we do this every Saturday because the reason behind Saturday School is actually for the sake of helping a lot of the members of the Inland Empire WordPress Meetup get caught up with what's going on in the WordPress world and some of the fundamental principles behind building a WordPress website. At least I'm still trying to figure out how to allow your video or your audio to be available. But what I will continue to do is announce, because we have announcements at this point in the broadcast. So one of the first things that I do on the broadcast is make announcements, and they're pretty much the same every week, but I do this because these broadcasts are archived on the internet and they're archived via YouTube. And the great thing about that is that you can go back and catch up. You can look at what's been actually covered previously, and you could try to just kind of get an understanding or a feel for what what things we have covered and catch up. So without further ado, I will begin to make some of these announcements, and after that we'll begin to go into our lesson. And so here we go. Well, what you're looking at is the Inland Empire Meetup screen, which is part of the announcements, but I will go back to this after I cover just the basics of Saturday School. So if you are viewing my screen, you see the Saturday School promotional photo that was created by myself. Welcome to Saturday School. Every Saturday I'm holding this class. Classes are in session, and the classes go from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So you have the opportunity to come and learn and understand more about WordPress on a weekly basis. And so, and it's basically part of the Meetup group, Inland Empire WordPress Meetup group. You can actually go to meetup.com/Inland Empire WP and RSVP for Saturday School here. So if you RSVP, you're going to get an email before the Saturday School begins with a link in it to join the broadcast. And I would love to have you at a future Saturday School as well. So come on and actually join us here at Saturday School one of these Saturdays. Hosted by the Inland Empire WordPress Meetup Group and also myself. What is the IEWP Meetup Group? The IEWP Meetup Group is the Inland Empire WordPress Meetup Group. And we are WordPress enthusiasts from the Inland Empire. We meet once a month, the first Tuesday of every month, in person at a location called Riverside, I.O. To discuss all things WordPress. We just had our monthly meetup on January the 5th, and we talked about New Year's goals. The second point about who we are is that when we meet also via live stream virtually every Saturday for Saturday School. You can find archives on the YouTube channel that I will actually highlight to you later. We meet online in the Facebook group the rest of the time. So come on to the Facebook group for help and support. It doesn't matter if you've been working with WordPress for a short time, not at all, or many years. We welcome you to our tech family. Come, learn, and be supported. If you go to meetup.com, I've covered this a little bit, then you can RSVP for all future meetups. Meetup.com/Inland Empire WP. That will allow you to RSVP for all future meetups. So come and check it out. The other thing about this place is that there are links here on the left side that will actually take you to our Facebook group, our Twitter, and our website. And so come to meetup.com/Inland Empire. It links to other websites that we have as well. If you would like to just go directly to our Saturday School website, then you just go to inlandempirewp.com/Saturday School. That's where you can actually watch the broadcast, and a couple of people are actually watching from there right now, I can tell. But also, this is our actual Inland Empire WordPress Meetup group website, so you can jump on there to get more information about our Meetup group as well. So we also, are developing it further this year. We're developing this website further this year to become more of a resource for people who join the Inland Empire WordPress Meetup group. So check that out. And our goal, one of our goals that we discussed at the previous meetup on January 5th, is about making this website a resource and people being able to contribute and add cool stuff as a community here in the Inland Empire. The next thing I would like to point you to would actually be the Inland Empire WP Meetup group page. Okay, this is one of our locations on Facebook. You type in Inland Empire WP Meetup group. Like this page. This is the page where we'll be making further announcements and things like that. But also, please come and check out our group. Our group is probably the place that's getting the most action because this is where we discuss plans, and this is where we actually talk about what's going on, and post related articles and helpful articles that will help other people and give support. So if you're needing WordPress support, go check out this Meetup group. Just search for Inland Empire WordPress on Facebook. Request to join and you will be added. So I encourage you to join our group. The other thing I want to point to is that after this broadcast itself, after we've completed this broadcast, the broadcast itself, because it's a Google Air Hangouts on Air, the broadcast itself will actually be posted to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com and then search for Inland Empire WordPress. Excuse me. We should be the first result that shows up. And this is what our channel looks like. Please subscribe. Come check it out. Subscribe and join. If you subscribe on YouTube, then you will be notified when the broadcast goes live, because I'm broadcasting via YouTube as well. So there's two ways to be notified through the broadcast, and that's through email, through the Meetup group, and then also subscribing on YouTube channel. So check that out. And that will be all of the announcements with regard to this Meetup group. But the other part of the announcements that I would like to talk about is WordPress.org. In the Saturday school that we, in these lessons that we're going through in Saturday school, we are covering this technology, the WordPress technology, and we're covering more specifically WordPress.org, which is distinct from a WordPress.com website. Most people do not draw that distinction, and if you're just beginning to work with WordPress, and if you just maybe jumped into trying to understand WordPress, you found this video somewhere on YouTube, know there is a huge difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org, and that's this is what we're covering. This is actually a website that is packed full of resources. If you go under support on this website, then you can see there are actual forums on here where you can come and ask questions, and people from the open source community will answer those. If you're that could be a second resort if you're not plugged into some actual Facebook groups. Documentation as well. And this is the docs, and I want to open this in a new tab because I want you to know that this is your friend. The documentation is going to be your friend. If you go to codex.wordpress.org, this is a good place for you to start and to go very shallow or very deep. Okay, so everything that we cover in Saturday school will more than likely be talked about here in the codex and more. So don't limit yourself. I want you to expand your knowledge. I want you to dig very deep and grow through going into the codex as well. So make sure you go ahead and check out WordPress.org. They have, there are themes, plugins, about mobile support, like WordPress mobile apps, all kind of stuff. Research this website and just read around. So apart from that, I want you to actually check out WordPress TV. WordPress TV is a great place for you to go, for you to understand the WordPress community a little bit better. On WordPress TV, you will find broadcasts from previous WordCamps, and we will cover WordCamps in a minute, because WordCamps are a brief conference. They're weekend conferences that you can attend, where there are developers, designers, and business owners, just regular users. The WordPress community just comes together through WordCamps, and those videos from the WordCamps are normally uploaded here to WordPress.tv. It's a great resource. And speaking of WordCamps, if you would like to ever go to a WordCamp, WordCamp Central is the place for you to be. Once again, it is a conference that focuses on everything WordPress. And the WordCamp that's actually coming up really soon in February, that's here in the US, it's going to be Miami. That's on February 19th and 20th. There's WordPress Dayton on March 4th and 5th. And then, Lancaster, PA is going to be coming on March 5th and 6th. Surprisingly, there were no WordCamps in January. I'm very surprised. I usually go to WordCamps here on the West Coast, and at the WordCamps, you will find a lot of people from the WordPress community. You'll be able to grow your business through meeting these people, and just valuable resources. There are usually 3 tracks: designer track, developer track, and a business track. And those are like just 3 tracks of learning. You can choose courses all throughout the day in any one of these tracks. And you come to this website for more, read more about news, and about the WordCamps and just what you need to expect, and just how to get plugged into the global WordPress community. So it's 9:16. I'm going to end the announcements, and we will get into our lesson. So once again, thank you for joining for Saturday School. We do this every Saturday, and then we archive these Saturday schools on YouTube. Right now, I am actually going to reshare my screen because we want to get into our lesson. Let's see which one is, I believe this is. Okay, here we go. Whoa, psychedelic. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Awesome. Okay, so here, I was a little bit earlier on the WordPress.org theme directory, and the reason why I was on the WordPress.org theme directory is because today really is the summary of Saturday School, and the summary of Saturday School means that it's the final lesson before we begin from the top again. And so I wanted to come in and find a cool theme, because I'll take you to the WP theme setup guide. If you followed along, then we've gone through this entire table of contents for the WP theme setup guide. Started at discovery. We went through initial setup. We went through the basic keys to getting it. We covered each of these topics kind of in an individual way to just go more in depth. And you can go through and find those videos on our YouTube channel. One of the things that did happen as we began to go through the this WP theme setup guide is we came to an end. We came to an end point of where my content has been created for this guide. I have been a little bit swamped with work lately, so I hadn't been able to really fully develop the rest of this guide, but we went through each topic without having content on the page for the guide itself. We just went through via video. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the very final page, because we did cover everything. And the final area of the theme setup guide is putting it all putting it all together. So there's my little quote: great things are done by a series of small things brought together. And how true is that? But sometimes the small things can be overwhelming, like setting up a WordPress theme. So in this theme setup guide, I took each of us through a basic, kind of setup, and then we also covered those individual components. But in this, we're going to actually do an entire demo site setup. This was another part of the guide where I had not really written any content for this. So demo site setup is the schedule of the day. And I want to begin from the beginning. I'm just gonna go back to our outline because this is what I'm using. Um, you know, in the putting it all together section. First of all, we're going to be just covering a little bit about the development environments, and then the demo site setup, and then the conclusion. So in WordPress, you have different development environments. One will be your local development environment. And I will share with you what is the best way to set up a local development environment for a WordPress website. And without shame, I support this company. They are amazing. Desktop server, ServerPress, I've mentioned it throughout the lessons, but you have a local development environment that you can set up for WordPress via desktop server. So I encourage you to go to serverpress.com and make a download of one of their preliminary trial copies and get accustomed to developing on your actual machine. And I will also bring up a diagram that I created as well. So you got your local development environment, and then you have your remote development environment. If you can see that. So there are benefits to both of them. Again, I'll just briefly cover this. For your local development environment, you can access your website offline and always have a website backup. You can take development anywhere. You can run PHP and MySQL on your actual computer with this local development environment. You have full control, absolute full control. And then with your local development environment, you can have safe upgrades for your actual website. So there are safe upgrades if you have your WordPress website on your desktop. It's not live to the world. These upgrades that you do whenever maybe there's a dot upgrade, which is like 4.4.1, WordPress 4.4.1 just recently came out. When you have a dot upgrade, that's safe. Or if you have a major upgrade, or even if you have a plugin upgrade, none of those will break your website. So that's the local development environment. And with a desktop server, you have the additional benefits of rapidly spinning up WordPress websites. You can also create website blueprints, which is an opportunity for you to have a very quick start with your own preferred setup with a blueprint. You can also run WordPress multi-site with desktop server, and you have one-click deploy, which is the premium version of desktop server. The other development environment that you're going to need is a remote development environment. And the remote development environment is also, it's needed, but I don't recommend that being your first option for development. Your remote development environment will play a central role in you being able to display work to a third party. And so you've got local development environment and your remote development environment, which is a hosting server, whether that be shared hosting, a virtual private server, which means that you get a chunk on a single machine to have full control over. That's what a virtual private server or VPS is. But if you develop on these platforms, you have a need to have an internet connection. You have a risk of losing your data. you have a risk of losing your code changes or your blog changes, whatever. And you also just have to set up backups for this development environment, and you have limited control. And also, whenever you upgrade, there's also a liability. So it's just good to have a local and a remote. The way I do it is I create a staging environment for any website that I create. So what do I do with that? Because this session we're going to just try to fly through a quick, basically set up an entire WordPress website during this time. I'm actually going to just kind of take you a little bit through the process of what I do, maybe albeit so imperfectly, and you'll have an opportunity to do a similar thing for your website. And I'm using Desktop Server Premium, so I will have the ability to do a one-click install, which I'll show you how to do as well. So putting it all together, we want to create a website really fast. We just want to put everything together. We're going to need to have an actual theme. We're gonna need to have our local and remote development environments as well, as I showed you earlier. And so we have to have both of those set up. We have to set up a local development and a remote development. And then from there, we're going to quickly set up the theme. Let's do this. Okay, so what I'll do is first set up my local development environment. And for that, all I need is Desktop Server. And I do already have it started, but I'm going to restart Desktop Server with privileges to allow me to begin to create a new website. So I'm going to go ahead and add my admin password here. I want to restart Desktop Server with privileges on my computer. And once it restarts, it'll bring up a screen. I don't know if you guys can see this. I may need to share my entire screen. So what I'll do is I'll stop sharing here, and I'm going to share my entire screen here. And there we go. All right, so I have recently just chosen to restart Desktop Server with privileges. You can see Desktop Server here, and it's time for me to spin up a quick website. So what I want to do is click on Create a New Development Website, and it'll take me to this screen on Desktop Server. And the website name that I'm going to give is going to be Saturday School Final. Saturday School Final. So we already got a Saturday School website that we've been developing every week. We're not going to go to that one. We're just going to create a whole new one, because just going to show you how easily it is to quickly create a website, begin setting things up to your liking. So I've set it up here, and I'm going to look at the other options. The blueprint that I'm using is actually 4.3, which needs to be updated. In the root folder is in my documents, websites, Saturday School.dev folder. Not going to allow multi-site. I'm going to click Create. Desktop Server is creating the site, the source folder, the virtual host, the server name entries, and all of the above. So it's restarting the web and database services. Okay, so this is creating my local environment. This is what I need first. I need a local environment. So I'm going to say next. And here we go. Configuration is complete. You can now finish your desktop WordPress setup. Please specify a title, username, password by visiting the home page. So we're going to go to the home page and finish this install. Choose English. We're going to say username is password is easy. You won't be able to hack me because this is local. We'll install the website. Now, temporarily, I'm also going to use the same password or use this very same username at least on my remote development server. It might not be wise to use that password. So I'm going to close that and I'm going to log in. So just that quick, I got my WordPress website. I can log in this way, which is going to be easy, or desktop server gives me this cool bypass login thing right here, and I can click on that and it will log me in. It will bypass having to do the original login. Okay, so there we go. We logged in and really got about 5 updates just because I'm on an old installation of WordPress and there are a few themes that need to be updated as well in a plugin. So I'm just going to go through these quick updates really quick. And while that is updating, I'm going to go to my remote host because I need to have a mirror host as well. So what I'm going to do is go to create my remote server briefly, and I'm going to use Softaculous for this setup. Because I have a VPS, I'm able to log into my root and it gives me a web host manager. This is different from what you might see from other hosts or just a regular cPanel install, but it's basically about the same once you get to the actual cPanel area. So for this website, I'm actually just going to use one of my domain names that I just don't use a lot, and I'm just going to set up a staging server on this area. Is the domain name that I purchased a while back. It's called WPWebbuilder.com. So on this domain name, I can come here into the cPanel area. Now this is on my remote server. cPanel gives me the opportunity to have a single-click WordPress install, and this is how I'm going to set up my remote install. And I'm going to do that right now. So I do a search, and down here at the bottom there's a Softaculous apps installer. I click on WordPress. It's going to take me here and gives me the opportunity to install. So yes, and let's see. I can install it here, or actually probably should have went in and created a subdomain. So what I'll do is go back to cPanel, create a quick subdomain. Here we go. I'll create a quick subdomain underneath subdomains, and I'll call it Saturday School. Saturday School Final. .WP Web Builder. Sat School Final. .WPWebbuilder.com. That's going to be my subdomain. So I've created that, and then I'm going to set up my WordPress. And I know I'm probably going through this and flying through this, and you're probably not understanding anything that's going on. But there will be different types of one-click installers for different hosts. So this part really, if I I probably should have had it set up already, but you may catch something that you can go back and use for yourself as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click install. I've got my new subdomain sat school final wp web builder, and I don't want to have it install in any directory. And then I'm just going to leave this pretty generic because this is the staging area on a remote server, and I'm going to use one-click install for this. And so what I'm going to do is go in here. All I need to do is create an admin account, and of course you can see my password, but I'm going to change the password once I get in anyway. So I'll go ahead and install this. All right. So here we go. So we got the install starting here. And it's been installed. Okay. So all right. So just because now what I need to do is also check up on my local install. Okay, we've updated some of the actual core, and this is a very cool, handy blue top, I guess you would call it admin bar that desktop server gives me to let me know I'm on my local development website versus the remote development website. So it's just a really handy tool. Now here is my remote website right here, and it's SaturdaySchoolFinal.wpwebbuilder.com/WP-admin. So we've got that installed, and I can actually close this window because what I'm going to do as well is add a new plugin, and the plugin that I want to add is going to allow for a one-click deploy. That's the desktop server plugin. We're going to install that now and activate it. And then I'm just going to close this web host manager as well. So I've got my local install, and I've got my remote install. And now I have, if I go back to localhost, which is the place where I see all of my local websites, and I refresh, then at the bottom is my website that I just created, SaturdaySchoolFinal.dev. So I've got a few things set up that is, going to allow me to develop the website locally and then deploy it. And I've also just installed desktop server for WordPress on Saturday School Final page. I'm just going to delete a Kismet and Hello Dolly because I'm just going to deactivate them and delete, because I'm not going to be using these guys. They'll be back like the Terminator once I update WordPress again. So we don't have to worry about these. So I'm going to delete those. Yes, delete these plugins. And this is on my remote server, but on my local server as well, I want to go ahead and do the same thing. Kismet and Hello Dolly, I'm going to delete these. I don't need desktop server plugin on this one because I'm deploying to the other website that's on a remote host. So this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go to my profile. And this is my profile here. Let's go back to home. So I want to view this website really quick because the default theme is actually installed, which is, I believe, 2016. So let's go to appearance and let's see what themes they have here. Yes, 2016 is the active theme. And if I go to appearance themes on my local, the active theme is 2015 on this one, because this has now been updated to 4.4. I'm sorry, it's default. So what I'm going to do is add a new theme briefly, because I just want to go through the process of setting up a quick website and just going through that setup. I was looking at these themes, and I mean there are a lot of themes, and unfortunately we don't have a lot of time. The actual broadcast at 10:15 will go into a question and answer mode. So we're just gonna choose something that is relatively straightforward and simple. This MK theme, it actually looks kind of nice, and I'd be interested, in maybe seeing it set up. So let's just really quick. This is the theme preview for this MK theme. Looks like it's got a very cool background image there, but we're just going to pass that one over for now. Let's go to the popular themes really quick, and let's see if there's one that we just want to choose out of here. Of course, we got 2014, 2011, all of the 20s that are put out by Automatic. They're all nice. Then we also have Zero Flight. And we went to the virtual theme last week. And then there's also this Sydney theme. Let's decide on something that has just a cool look with images. This Arcade Basic actually looks pretty cool. So let's see how quickly we can set up this theme. And so we're going to go ahead and install that. And this is on our local server. The point of this class, or this final Saturday School Final website, is to take you through this process and to quickly install and configure or set up this theme, and then deploy the theme to the remote server so that you have a mirror of the site on the remote server, SaturdaySchoolFinal.wpwebbuilder.com. That's really the point. We went really in depth for every other class, but this class we're not going to go super in depth. We're just going through, setting it up, and installing it. So we just installed Arcade Basic, and then we're going to activate it. And so we've got that activated. I'm going to close this tab, and then I'm going to open the front end of this website in a new tab. So here we go. Arcade Basic just installed. It looks actually really nice already. It's got a huge background image that I'm going to actually have to investigate and change, because I don't like that background image. I actually want something different. So let's go and check it out. All right, so they say, thanks for choosing Arcade Basic. You can learn how to use available theme options on the About page. So this is going to take me to some documentation that's actually installed now. And look at this. This is great because this website may have been developed more recently. We talked about this in previous Saturday schools, that some come with documentation, some don't. This one actually has some documentation. So this is great. This WordPress developer, theme developer did a great job, and I applaud them. And so you wouldn't have to worry much about really having the WP theme setup guide for this, because you can go through and read the documentation, change things. So they're saying that You know, you can find basic options under customize, appearance customize. You can find custom menus under appearance menus. We did talk about that already, but they're giving some basic documentation, which I applaud these guys. They give you information about the jumbo headline. A jumbo headline is a widgetized area on the home page. It's designed for a text widget. Look at that. That's very clear, very concise. If I'm looking at the home page, there really is no jumbo headline here yet. Homepage top area. They say the section where the 4 widgets appear on the home page will only display once a widget is added to the homepage top area. And so you can go to appearance widgets and change that. The demo uses custom icon and text widget that comes with Arcade Basic to display an icon accompanied by the text. I can tell you this, guys, the majority of themes that are created as custom themes do not have even this amount of documentation. And so you are very fortunate to see something like this. Some of them do, but not all of them do. It's probably, I would say, around 30% that I've seen up to this point actually comes with documentation. So I'm absolutely thrilled. I've actually never seen this. And so I'm thrilled at this documentation page. They have a post block page template. So on the home page of the demo, the lower section is comprised of four posts displayed in a grid block. You can create this look. So they say you can create this block look on your home page by creating a static front page. We've done this before, so we're going to do that as well. The custom header image. You have the option to display a header image on each of your posts in the home page with the custom header images. Jetpack, they talk about adding Jetpack, which is really one of my favorite plugins. I like it. Some people don't like it. They say they add too much weight to your website, but I think it's got a lot of benefits. And there are ways that you can modify Jetpack and make it perform better on your website. There are pull quotes for those of you who are bloggers. The block quotes create pull quotes in this theme. And he says, for more information, check out the documentation and frequently asked questions on his website. He gives you a link to his website. So I would just say bravo to this guy. He did some great work, or even though it's very just like straightforward, bravo for his documentation. So let's go through and let's go ahead and set up this theme. With that, we're going to go to the customizer, because the customizer is where we've spoken of. This is a new paradigm for you to actually begin to set up your theme, your website. Okay, I'm just going to fill out some basic information. All right, and let's see, arc radius is 400. Let's see, what happens if we turn it to 800? Let's see. That's nice. Let's just leave it at that. Fit text. Fit text is like responsive text, which will respond to the size of the browser. They give that inside of here. Header icon. The heart is cool. Let me just look at the icons. I kind of like the heart. It's cool. But since it's our Saturday School Final, let's just wave a flag. All right, there we go. Very cool. Hide the icons. And then site icon, let's see, gives me the option to select the image. We don't really have an icon for Saturday School, so we're just going to save this here. and we're going to go back. Let's check out some other options. We got a site width, 1200 pixels, and then we've got a sidebar layout. You can choose the size of the main content. Right now we have the layout on the right side, which is pretty cool. I like that. Let's change the width of that area to be 75%. Just save that. We're actually going to go in and create a home page. It's 9:50, and I'm just trying to keep track of the time. Background color, let's just leave it white. Post, let's see. These options do not affect the post blocks on the page template. Header image. Look at that. We got the image, this background image. We're gonna go ahead and hide this image. The current header, the current image has no, or the current header has no image set. Let's just add a quick new image here really quick, and select a cool new Unsplash image from unsplash.com, which I love. There's a lot of free images on there. I use those all the time. But there's other places you get images from. But I'm just going to go ahead and use Unsplash image really quick. Resources, images, stock images, Unsplash images. Let's use this one. The first one that we selected. Let's see, is it a good one? Yeah, let's use that one. We used that one on the previous Saturday School anyway. So we're going to select that one and crop it. And now we got about 15 minutes to get this all set up and gone. Crop the image. Yes, let's crop it there. And then we also got to deploy it. So we've added the new image, background. Ooh, Saturday School Final. Look at that. Loving that. Man, there's one thing that it's a little hard to read now. So I may need to go ahead and change this image, or let's just add a new image really quick. All right, so I'm gonna delete that one. Let's add a new image because that's a nice image, but the readability is terrible. And you gotta have good readability. So that's gonna be bad as well. And it seems like all of these are gonna be bad. All right, so let's use this one, this laptop, which is a very nice one. And it, maybe kind of plays into our whole theme of Saturday School with computers and stuff like that. I don't know. Just joking. So anyway, add that there. Boom. It's beautiful. All right, let's go back, save and publish. Unfortunately, I can't see any of the chat comments because if I open up my comment area, I get a little psychedelic screen. Background image. Let's not put a background image on there right now. Menus. Let's go build a quick menu, but only after we build our. We got to build our homepage. So let's go build our homepage really quick. So all of that has been saved, and we're gonna go out to the front page. Let's refresh this header. See what we got. Boom, that's been saved. Now it is time to go and add new pages. There's always a sample page that you have. We'll just change this to home. All right, let's just change this to about, and we'll add a blank one for home. So we're going to change quick edit, change this title to about and the select to about as well. And we'll update this. Add a new images or a new page as well. We're gonna add this as the home page. All right, publish. And then we're gonna add another page, and we're just gonna say contact. Publish that one as well, because we need like a few pages. We'll just add another page, and we'll just say something about services or something like that. Most businesses have at least a service page, even though this website that you build may not necessarily be for a business. So We've got a few pages. Let's go in and create a menu. Go to Appearance, Menus, and we're going to just call this Primary Menu. And we got Home, About, Contact, Home Services. So let's remove this one, and we'll change that up. And then we'll create this menu just like this: Home, About, Services, and Contact. And if we look at our menu settings, you could change, you add auto pages. We talked about that in a previous, our auto add pages, top level pages. If we wanted to, we talked about that in a previous Saturday school. And then we have the theme locations of this menu, which we could also access through this Manage Locations tab. We're actually going to put primary into the primary menu location, save that. Yesterday, I found a unique bug in WordPress. If you are working on building a website, it's actually a bug that is being worked on. It's been reported. But if you're working on building a website and you have a menu structure that you're building that exceeds 200, then you will run into a little bit of a difficulty. But I did find some documentation to fix that on WP Beginner, which is a very good thing, and it helped me. It was located and reported as a trouble ticket with the WordPress organization, or I guess you would say a WordPress core development team, and they've been working on it. They haven't released the fix yet, but anyway, I digress. We've created our menu. We've got our menu, and now it's also time to just go back out, check out our website, and see what do we have. So at the top right, we've got our menu there. We've got our Saturday school. And the next thing we need to do is something that we usually do whenever we first begin. And that's change some of these general settings. First thing we need to do is look at general. It's 9:57, and we're just racing against the clock a little bit. And we don't want to change anything under general. So the next option usually I go to is reading. And under reading, I want to set a static page to the front page. And also I want to set home is the home page. And that's going to allow me to create that blocked area that they had in the theme. In the post page, I currently don't have a blog page. I should have created one. So I'll just go back and create one really quick. But I'm going to save this. And then I'll just, from the top menu, it's a shortcut, go create a new page. And then I'll say blog. And then I'm going to publish that as well. And I'm going to back up and go back to the reading section under settings and set the blog as well. Save those changes. And then the next thing I'm going to do is set my permalinks. It's one of the most basic things. Fundamentally, I always do. And change my permalinks from day and name to post name. Set that, save changes, and go back out to the site, refresh, and I've got now my home page here on the front page. And what I can do is go back to our actual customizer underneath appearance, customize, and we are going to set up the blocks. So on the static front page, that's already set. I believe it may be under, let's see. You know what I'm going to do? Instead of just wandering around in the dark, I'm actually going to go to the documentation for this theme. And this is where they talked about the jumble headline is available under appearance widgets. The home page top header is under appearance widgets. The post block page template is on the home page of the demo. The lower section is comprised of 4 posts displayed in a grid block. You can create this look on your home page by creating a static front page and assigning the post block page template. So I need to assign this a post block page template. So that's we did talk about page templates in a previous Saturday school. And what I'm going to do is go set the home page that I've already set the front page to a page template of post block. And also, I guess I would need to create some miscellaneous posts as well. So underneath, if I go to the page, I'm editing the home page post type. Now go to there, on the right side, there are page attributes, and I can select template. There it is, post block, page template. If I update that, then I go back out to the home page. First, we have a regular content area and a sidebar. When I refresh it, okay, that has changed. And looks like this will now be the post block. But what we're going to need to do is also, let's set a custom image, header image really quick. Let's see what that'll do. If I click update here, we're at 10:01. We got a few minutes. I'm racing against the clock. Okay, that just changes this custom image that we had earlier. So we're going to remove that image. Update. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go to plugins, or I'm sorry, appearance widgets. And, you know, on the side page, on the side area, or on the sidebar of the original homepage template that we had set up, we could have changed this stuff here. But now we are no longer using this. We also got this jumble headline. I remember they said something about it being a text widget. So I'm going to add this text widget here. I'm just going to say Saturday school final. I'm going to save that. Refresh. There we go. Look at that huge headline there. Let's see what comes up if I put same thing here. Save there. Refresh. All right, there we go. We got our headline and sub-headline there. And that's just a widget area that they've created for that. We got also the homepage top area on the homepage above the main content designed specifically for icon and text widgets. So they did show the icon and text widgets. Here they are right here. We just may not have the time to implement all of these icons and text widgets. Let's just do whatever we can. Have fun with. All right, there's one icon widget. Here's another one. Love people. All right, here's another text widget. So they said 4. We're just going to set this up really quick. And be a star. Boom. All right. We've got 3. Hide the icons. We can actually set a URL, and then I'm just going to set this button text. URL, I'm just going to put a hash symbol, #. Set the text to the same thing as the title. We just need a placeholder for the URL. We're not going anywhere currently. Hopefully I'm not working too fast for some of you guys. Final icon. I'm gonna say invite friends. All right, we're gonna hide that. URL, it's just gonna be a hash symbol. And it's just gonna copy this. They have other options. You can make it different colors, but I'm just gonna leave them all light blue for now. And well, I probably should go through and save every one of them. Save that one. Save this one. Save this one. Save this one. Boom. And just to keep it congruent, I'm just going to add a exclamation point to the end of here. And one to the end of here. Save. All right. Cool. Let's refresh. Cool. Look at that. We got our 4 blue icons there. And this is the widget areas. Basic. I'm showing you how to set up a contact form, so we're not going to do that on this Saturday School broadcast. Look at that. It's a little bit off. But if we have more time, we would address it, but we don't. So we're not going to worry about perfection. This is an about page. You can change up what's on the sidebar because this is the actual main sidebar. And there's actually a cool plugin called Display Widgets that you can use to conditionally show widgets per page. So even though there's only one sidebar, you can conditionally show your widgets on different pages with a cool plugin called Display Widget, which we do not have time to cover in this broadcast. But go ahead and Google it or go to the WordPress repository and find it. The other thing I want to do at this point is create 4 new posts, but it looks like we may not have time for it. Excuse me. But what I'll do really quick is I'll create 1 post and duplicate them. So let's go to add new, because I'm going to add a plugin that will allow me to duplicate posts. Just search up duplicate post, and I'm going to install this because I want to clone the post that I'm going to create. I'm just going to create 1 post and then clone it. Now there are other cool little utility plugins like this that allow you to do just little functions really fast. I use those all the time. I'm just going to take this hello world post and I'm going to give it a featured image, and from that, like, I'm going to duplicate. I'm just going to begin to duplicate. So for the featured image, I'm just going to set just any one of these cool little images that I have here on my computer. Set that as a featured image. Because I want to see the block layout that they have in this theme. Update it. And then I'm going to go out to all posts. And because I installed that plugin, I will now have an option on hover to clone this post. So I'm going to clone this post. And as I clone it, I get hello world draft. And I'm just going to change this to hello world 2. I'm not even going to have to fill out the slug because that's going to update automatically. And then I'm actually going to quick edit, change this pending status to published. Then I'm just going to do the same thing 2 more times. Clone, quick edit, hello world 3, change the draft to publish, update. Go clone this one, quick edit to hello world 4. All right, we got about 5 minutes left. This segment, update this here, and let's see what happens. See if it actually changes the layout. There we go. We got our block layout. Perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. Now it is time to deploy. And all we need to do is find our development server. And since we've already got the desktop server plugin installed, I did it earlier. I'll go back and I'll go to the dashboard and show you. Plugins, installed plugins. Remember, I installed the desktop server for WordPress plugin remotely earlier. And our remote website, our staging website, which we could show to any third party, which is not on our desktop, is what we want to actually now have this website here. This is our website, our final Saturday School final website that we've developed locally. And now we also have the staging website that is remote, satschoolfinal.wpwebbuilder.com. And then we also have the plugin installed on satschoolfinal.wpwebbuilder.com. So this plugin allows me, and this is part of the desktop server premium WordPress, our desktop server premium for WordPress plug our application. I'm just going to do a deploy now. I'm going to deploy this local website to this remote website. And what that's going to take is me clicking on my desktop server application. This is where we ended earlier with the desktop server application. And we're just going to click next. So now what we want to do, because we have the premium version, is click on export, import, or share website. And we have our local site, Saturday School Final, already. We're going to go from that option, first option that we saw, to this option, second screen. What would you like to do? You can import an existing archive to the new development website, or you can create an archive to share with others, deploy to a live hosting server. We're going to export or deploy the WordPress website. And we're going to choose, this brings us up to a website screen, or I'm sorry, dialog screen, where we can actually choose the website. So I'm going to choose Saturday School Final. And then we want to do export as, and this is where we're going to export the Saturday School Final website to. We can export it as .com. It says also export is to a website archive, .zip file. But what we want to do is a direct deploy. We're going to do a direct deploy. And this is going to directly deploy it to our server. But also, I want to make sure before I direct deploy that I change this domain. What I need to do is grab this domain here and add it to the export area. Because that's where desktop server is going to find the desktop server plugin. On Sat School, this is our remote development server, or what we could also call our staging server. So I've got the website that I've chosen off the local server, which is the Saturday School Final, and then I've got the remote hosting area added in this blank right here, or the staging area. Then I'm going to click on direct deploy, and I need to enter those credentials I created earlier, and that was V Smith. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's going to get those are credentials for this for the staging area. So I'm going to click OK. Desktop server reads it and it's ready. Once it's ready, all I need to do to direct deploy is click next. I can click next and it brings me to another screen with different options. It says desktop server, prepare your files and database for deployment to a destination server. You may select the optional items below. It's 10:15, so I'm going to go ahead and go through this really fast. Basically saying, this operation is going to destroy the other website. It's going to override it. So I'm going to turn off some of these options, like encourage search and invisibility. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and purge post and page revisions. I don't need custom scrubbing options or to deploy the database only. So this is all I want to do, and I click next. When I do that, desktop server begins to work. It's working behind the scenes, scrubbing all of the files to deploy the website, and it's scrubbing, plugins and all of that. It's beginning to transfer, and it is transferring all of the files from my local desktop server environment, my local development environment, to my staging environment, which is live on the web. So remember, we'll just go back to the diagram, local versus remote. You need both, really. It's not one or the other. It's really kind of a combination of both. When you're in a development cycle, you want to use every part of it to your advantage. So we just developed the website here on Saturday School Final on the local environment. We've been developing this on the local environment for the past 8 weeks. This is the 9th week. And now we've created this new website completely from scratch here on Saturday School. And we're also pushing it out to our staging environment, which is this second option, which is your remote development environment. So this is a good comparison diagram, but remember, it's not either or. With development, it is either or, but when it comes to your workflow, it's both. You need both of them to have a good process. And actually, one of the things I need to add to this guide is going to be an actual diagram that shows the process of local development and the remote development. So that's one of the things that I'm actually going to eventually add. And right now, desktop server is still working. It's 10:17, and we will be taking questions briefly, but I'm going to share my screen one more time once this development site is actually live. But if you have a question, feel free to ask that question in the chat on the Saturday School website, and I will actually do my best to answer that as well for you. So inlandempire.com/Saturday School, you can ask a question there. If you're in the broadcasting and you want to ask a question, that's fine as well. And desktop server is currently working. And I'm going to share my screen one more time because it is actually about to be finished scrubbing and deploying. And you will see that it has now deployed the website almost completely. And it's just finished. So desktop server has completely finished deploying the website. What we're going to do is click next, and it gives me the URL that I can actually click to. I don't need to click on that URL because I can go here. This was the site initially before the direct deploy, and then I refresh, and it should be live. Let's click there. Oh, we got a problem. Okay, so it didn't work out as I don't know why that would happen. So we've got a brief problem, and I'm going to solve that, okay? And let's see what happens. So we still have our local site. And the great thing about this is that when you have your local site, you always have a backup. But right now I'm getting a white screen of death. What could possibly be happening? I go to my WP admin, I can go to the plugins. Let's go to appearance themes. Let's see what's there. It shows up in the front end. You know what? Okay. It deployed the website, but it didn't activate the theme, which is a little bit weird. So let's see what happens. Gonna refresh. Okay, that's there. So what I'm gonna need to do really quick is I'm just gonna redeploy the database itself, okay, to the Saturday school area, because that was a little bit weird. I'm not sure why that happened. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going back through the steps on desktop server to redeploy the same Saturday School final.dev. And then I'm also going to grab this URL, boom, save this, boom. All right, but you know what I need to do on this remote website? Let's see. I think I'm gonna need to, I do need to add the desktop server plugin one more time. One more time, let's see what happens. Boom. All right, 10:21. Let's see if we can beat the clock and get it done before 10:30. Activate. We've activated desktop server here. And then let's see, username and password is all the same. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. And then I'm going back to desktop server. And we've gone through the same steps as we did before to export from desktop server. But we're only going to direct deploy the database briefly. So all right, let's do this again. Okay, cool. We got that. Okay, we want to deploy the database only. All right, we're gonna wait for it to deploy the database briefly. Transferring the files, finish deployment. Next. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yay, we got it. There we go. And you can see in the URL, this is the actual URL of our staging website. All of our images are in place. Homepage is in place. Our menu, our entire menu is in place. What we created, everything we created locally it's all in place. We didn't have to rebuild it. We just had to deploy it directly with desktop server. So once again, desktop server is an amazing tool. Setting up your WordPress website locally and then deploying it to your staging server. It doesn't have to be the live server. It can be a staging server. Deploying it to your staging server really is the way to go. At this point, I'm going to stop. And thank you, Lisa, for joining our broadcast. Thank you, Greg, for joining our broadcast as well. And whoever else is watching the broadcast at this time. This is Saturday School. I'm doing this every Saturday, and I'm going through the WP theme setup guide. At this point, it doesn't appear as if we have any questions, but if you have questions after watching this video, if you picked up an archive and you have questions while watching this video, feel free to tweet me, send me a tweet on Twitter. Various Smith is my Twitter handle. You can also email me if you would like to, various.smith@philoveracity. You can check out my website as well, philoveracity.com. And I mean, like, I welcome your questions. So if you have questions, I welcome them and I want to hear them. And that's the only way that I'm going to grow as a person, is if I'm able to answer your difficult questions. And the only way you're going to grow is if you ask difficult questions. This Saturday School is really intended to be an opportunity for all of our members to catch up. If you're a part of the Inland Empire, okay, I see a question. Why would you not use a local dev space and only use a remote space to develop in? Okay, so that is a question asked by Small Time Market, and I believe that's Michael. I would not use, I'm sorry, why would you not use a local dev space and only use a remote space to develop in? Okay, that is, that question, it really, I mean, like it's kind of rhetorical for me at this point, but the answer would be shortcuts, I think. Sometimes there's, some benefit, and I've done it in the past. I've begun developing websites using MAP, and then there was a point in time where I was developing directly on my servers, Michael, and like my server was just convenient. It was live, but I was a fool, and so like I actually, was a cowboy coder, and I was doing some dangerous stuff. So switching off of that remote development aspect of developing my website, so that I didn't have to transfer it from my desktop to my live server. It was it was a good thing for me to do, and it was a hard habit for me to break, to stop developing directly on my remote server. So I mean, I know I was one person who did it. I'm not saying because I did it, everybody else was doing it. But there are a few people who I've talked to who said they have cowboy code. They've done that, and we call that cowboy coding. So I think the convenience of developing directly on your server is that you don't have to go through the extra step of uploading your new website. And I think that is a bad habit. So yeah, I mean, like, did you have anything bad happen using? Whew, I've had bad things happen by not having backups and using a remote only server. Like when I've worked with different developers, I have some horror stories of developers that I've worked with who were like maybe from India or some third world country, and they went into the server and ripped off the entire website, just ripped it down right on the day of launch. That's happened to me before, and I didn't have a backup of the website, but I got the website back eventually. So yeah, I mean, that's scary, scary, scary. Whenever you're working with a third party, whether it be your client or another developer, you're going to need that staging area to actually, give a good preview before you go live. And so, and also it's just the best practice to have a staging area to test it online as well. So I have had horror stories, bad things happen to me. Loss of work. I remember one time I lost an entire style sheet, CSS, for one of the websites that I'd written. It was more than 1,000 lines long. I'm sorry, probably more than 1,400 lines of CSS that I had written for a website. It was just gone. And like I'm telling you, like starting from scratch, like my workflow, has primarily been in the past to create, Photoshop document and then convert the Photoshop document to HTML and CSS. Well, that's a lot of CSS. And so to lose that much CSS is a bad thing. I don't develop locally like that, or remotely like that anymore, because it's really bad. Thank you for that question though, Mike. I really do appreciate that. And so I would encourage anyone who is developing just directly on your server to not do that. That is called cowboy coding. It's dangerous, and there are better ways, and we've covered the better ways. one of the best ways, the actual best way, in my opinion, is to use desktop server and to develop your website locally, and then push it up through a direct deploy to your staging server, and you will have that backup, and you will have all of the benefits we talked about as well earlier. So thanks for tuning in. It is 10:30 now, and doesn't appear to be any more questions. If there are any more questions, please send those to me via email or go directly to my website, Philo Veracity. It's like the name Phil, P-H-I-L, over a city.com, and send a message to me from there, and I will get back in contact with you. Thank you so much for joining, and have a great day.